Hey everybody, today we're going to talk a little bit about Mylar. Let's get on it. Tick, 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 boom. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. You know what, right now would be a great time for you to go down there, tap that subscribe button, hit that like button, and share the heck out of this video, because we're going to talk a little bit about Mylar blankets. Now, about 2 weeks ago, I did a video right here, and it was me in a rainstorm surviving with minimal gear. Spoiler alert, I survived. So during that video, I spent the entire night huddled up against that tree right there during the rainstorm in a Mylar bivvy, and it did its job. It kept me from getting any wetter. But a lot of people ask the question, Madison, why didn't you make it into a tarp? And I had reservations to begin with because it was already a perfectly good bivvy. I didn't want to ruin it. These things don't seem very durable. But when these questions rolled in through the comments, I kept on thinking to myself, hey, how durable are these things? So that's what we're going to answer today. How durable are these things? How to use them? And there's also a pretty cool use I bet you didn't even know you could use these for. Let's get busy. So let's answer the question real quick. What are these things? Well, it's a space blanket. It's 84 by 54, decent sized. You know what it's made of? Plastic. It's plastic, folks. It's a big hunk of plastic covered with aluminum, and therefore it reflects your body heat right back on you. And since it reflects your body heat right back on you, you don't want to have it on the outside of your clothes. So if you're really going to use the Mylar space blanket as opposed to the bivvy that I had, but the space blanket, if you're really going to use this the way it's supposed to be used, you want this right next to your skin. So if you're wet, strip off those clothes, wrap this blanket around you, and then put your wet clothes back on over top of it. So without me getting naked, let me kind of demonstrate how to do that. Unroll a space blanket. Take the shoulders and sides, wrap it up over your shoulders, bring it down just like you would do with a regular blanket. And then take this part, wrap it up in, wrap it up in, and then you can tuck it down into your pants. And now you're going to want to put your shirt on over top of this. Like this right here, you could also put a piece of duct tape on to keep it up next to your body and keep it from falling off. The point is you want this next to your skin. You don't want it next to your clothes. You want it next to your skin. Put your clothes on over top of that, whether they be wet or dry. If you're in a cold environment, you're going to want to cover your head up too, because that's where a lot of your heat is going to be lost. Now, I've only had this wrapped on me here for a few seconds, and I can already feel it getting hot. Now, like I said before, guys, this is plastic. Plastic is also going to keep in a lot of moisture. It's not a breathable fabric. It's not breathable. So you're going to sweat in this thing. There's going to get moisture in here. So if you're in a very cold environment, you have to be cautious of overheating and sweating, which could be very dangerous as well. Now, as everybody can see, this is very, very reflective. It's part of the package with aluminum on there. It makes it a very shiny, reflective thing. So if you were in a situation where you needed to get rescued, you could use this as a big giant reflector, almost like a big giant, signal mirror of sorts. If you had to try to reflect sunlight up and get the attention of aircraft. Get a nice flexible stick. Bring it around so that the top reaches onto the bottom, just like this. So you can wrap it around. If you want to, you can hold it with your hand, or you can go ahead and tie that off with the lashing. Doesn't really make a difference. Take your blanket, wrap it up and over. keep it nice and taut, and you can reflect the sunlight all day with this thing. And the tighter you make it, the better it's going to be. And it takes about 5 seconds. If you wanted to take this and make it into a shelter, that's easy enough. It's a lot easier to do with this than it is with the bivvy. You're going to find your corner. You're going to take a piece of 550 cord, and this one happens to be about, I don't know, 2.5 feet long maybe. And instead of searching around on the ground for hunks of dirt or something like that, just start tying some knots in your 550 cord, just overhand knots. Just make a big old granny knot in here of knotted 550 cord. Looks just like that. Find your corner, take your knot. You want to go in, probably, for me, it's about 2.5, 3 inches there. Go on in, place that balled up knot right there. That creates a nice little divot like that. Now, you're going to make a loop back here. You go once, and you're just going to tie an overhand knot. And pull it tight. Now what this does is it gives me a tail here. If I want to tie it off to a tree, I can tie it off to a tree. If I want to stick a stake through here for the backside, I can stick a stake through there for the backside. Now to attach it to the tree, I can take my loop, run it right around the tree, just like this. Take my free end, jam it through there, and you can either tie a knot right here, or just make a timber hitch, which is basically running the rope around quite a few times, pulling it tight, and the friction will keep it from unraveling. Do the same thing to the other corner, but there's an issue. It just barely makes it to my tree. So what do I do now? Well, you make a tree. How do you do that? Take a stick. Preferably one with a little notch back up here, because we're going to use this as a lever point to run the line through to the ground. Take your stick, stick it in the ground. Wrap it around once, just for a little bit of security. Take a makeshift stick that you just found, jam it into the ground as a stake. Tie it off, front side's done. Back side, you got that loop? You know what to do. Uh-oh, I'm on my last corner. I'm out of paracord. What do? Get creative. Rock will do the trick. Plenty of room for me to stay safe and warm and out of the elements, at least for a night. Notice how low to the ground this thing is. That conserves your body heat. Make sure that any body heat that you have stays down in here. If you had a small fire out here, bringing some of that heat in, it would be all that much better. Now, there's a lot of people that say that this only reflects heat. It cannot create heat. And I'm here to tell them they're a gall darn liar. Let me show you. Remember at the very beginning of the video I said that this was made out of aluminum and plastic. What's plastic do? Anybody? 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 You, over there in Minnesota, you're gosh darn right, it burns. So we're gonna cut strips of this. And this is gonna be a fire extender for us in order to get a fire going. But I think it needs to be said that if you don't have a tinder, and this is your resort, is to burn a Mylar blanket for tinder, you are in a world of hurting. Before we get into how flammable this is, I want to show you something else. You see how that's a little tear right there? This is how fragile this is. It just rips almost like aluminum foil or tin foil. Once it has its integrity diminished, it's kaput. It's kaput. So while it might have some strength, while it is in its full 100% form, once it has a little tear in it somewhere that can start running, it will run like a pair of pantyhose. It will run like Forrest Gump. With all that being done right there, guys, I would highly suggest that you do not cannibalize your gear if you don't have to. The piece of gear was manufactured for a reason. I would keep it for that reason. I don't want to destroy a piece of gear that I might need to continue my survival. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you being here. We went over quite a few uses for the space blanket. We went over how it's supposed to be used. We went over how to make a quick shelter with it, that it can be used for signaling. We went over that it can be used to make a fire with. Guys, this is a pretty multi-use thing. It's really light, but I would save it and use it for what it's made for, which is a blanket. And I think that's where you're going to get your most benefit from it. But it is a multi-use item if needed. So guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of here. I got some food I gotta cook. I gotta get, oh man, I got a whole bunch of good stuff. I got kielbasa today. But anyways, let me go ahead and get on out of here. Before I do me a favor. Go on over to the Instagram. That's Bombproof_Bushcraft. Look me up there. Go on, take a look at me at Facebook. That's Bombproof Bushcraft. And guys, do me a favor. A lot of things that you see me use around camp, you can find over at my website. That's www.bombproofbushcraft.com. And as always, guys, get out of the inside and into the outside. Take care. Hey guys, in the comments below, tell me what you would use the space blanket for besides being a space blanket. And maybe I'll make another video about it in the future. Thanks. All right, guys, I've got my hook, my fly, I've got my line, I've got my reel, or my fishing pole. Let's go catch some fish over here in the creek. I heard there's some real monsters out there. Fishy, 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 fishy. Come on. Just a little nibble. Just a little bait. Little nibble, nibble, little bitey bite. Just a little one. Doesn't that plastic look so delicious? Come on, aluminum's good for you. Just a little bite. I think I'm gonna need a bigger hook.